Welcome back to the channel. In today's video, we are reacting to the Oscars. It is Oscar time. Alright, got the first award coming up. It is Best Supporting Actress. First off, very funny intro there from Conan O'Brien. Absolutely killed it. Here for Supporting Actress, I know it's going to be Amy Madigan, but I stuck with my prediction of Wunmi Mosaku solely because I just want to be right, and if I'm right, like, it'll feel so good picking Wunmi, because I think she's got as good of a shot. It's just that she was so far down in the predictions, like, it felt like, not inevitable, but it felt very possible to me that she would win, so that's why I stuck with her. But after the whole Amy Madigan, Aunt Gladys opening intro to, like, there's no way she doesn't win at this point. Like, I wish I could go back and switch. It's going to be Amy Madigan, but I'm still holding out hope for my no guts, no glory pick here of Wunmi Mosaku, but let's see who wins.
Amy Madigan.
It's Amy Madigan. Okay, that was... obviously, I was trying to kind of play at both sides there by going with Amy Madigan and Wunmi Mosaku. It was one of those that I felt pretty comfortable, pretty confident that probably was going to be here, especially the last couple of days. It was one of those that I didn't care too much about, like, going 24 for 24, because there's so many categories that feel kind of locked up this year that it's like, if I went with Amy Madigan, then I was just kind of picking the frontrunners in basically every single category. So this was the one category I kind of made a reach on, and we're wrong, but I'm so happy for Amy Madigan, and we're going to see now if it is just chalk the rest of the way. I feel like it's not going to be. There's going to be some surprises somewhere, and I don't know where it's going to be. Alright, my camera kind of failed for a minute there during the K-Pop Demon Hunters reaction for them winning Best Animated Film, so I'm just kind of splicing this in here, just my quick thoughts on that. I think it was kind of, I don't want to say, I guess it was predictable, because it was such a cultural and such a big moment, such a big film, that I think something like Zootopia 2, the only other real genuine contender probably in the category, with that being a sequel, there's just no way it could match the cultural impact that K-Pop Demon Hunters had. So even though K-Pop Demon Hunters wasn't my favorite in the category, I'm happy for them, for that team getting that win. I'm happy for all the fans of the film, because there are so many. This is a big moment, I think, for so many people. So even though, again, it wouldn't have been my pick would have been Little Amelie or the character of Rain. So even though it wasn't my pick, I am happy for everyone involved, and I'm happy for those that find joy kind of in this win, because that's a big moment. Next up is Best Animated Short. I went with Butterfly in this category. I'm a little nervous because it just seems like that's what so many people were going with. But it just kind of seemed like the one to me that maybe seemed like the most poignant, or the one that I feel like most people would want to vote for, but we'll see what happens. Again, this is a category where I think there's 4 different winners, pretty much everything but the Three Sisters. I think anything could win here. The Girl Who Cried Pearls. I feel like this happens almost every single year, where I start like 1 for 3. I always get like one of the acting, and then I get like a or I get animated and like animated short, but I always start 1 for 3, but that's what I am here. So The Girl with Pearls, that was, I think a lot of people kind of, I don't think it was the most popular, the most predicted, but I think a lot of people did kind of predict it. It is a very unique and kind of stands out in its own, on its own. Just the stop motion animation style is beautiful of the film. I totally can see why that would be a film that people would be excited to vote for. So congrats to the team of The Girl Who Cried Pearls. Looks like its Best Costume Design is up next here. Yep, Costume Design. So this, I think, is going to be pretty easily Frankenstein. This is part of the technical sweep here for Frankenstein. It's only 3 awards, so it's not as big of a sweep as, some like Dune Part 2 or other films in the past have kind of had big tech sweeps. But it is the tech sweeper in theory this year. It's going to probably win 3, and this is the first of the 3 for Frankenstein. Yep, Frankenstein. And this is one of those categories that I think was maybe important for like Sinners, if it could potentially kind of, if there was going to be this indication that it was going to pull, an upset at Best Picture at the end, it needed to kind of steal some Oscars along the way. This is one of those. I'm not going to say Frankenstein was weak in any sense, but Ruthie Carter is a former winner in the category for Sinners. She's won for Black Panther, Wakanda Forever, so this would have been one of those categories for Sinners, but ultimately it does go to Frankenstein, and I think that that's the right choice. The costume design work is just impeccable in Frankenstein. You think of everything that just Frankenstein's monster Jacob Elordi himself is wearing. Mia Goth's character, she's got all these fancy period Victorian era style dresses. Like, it's just beautiful work from Frankenstein. And again, it's a film that is going to win multiple of these tech categories. This is probably the first of a few. And then next up is Makeup and Hairstyling. This is another one. This is like the most locked for Frankenstein. Out of the 3 that it's probably going to win, this is the one that I would like bet a lot of money on. It's going to win here, Makeup and Hairstyling. It's going to go to Frankenstein.
Mike Hill, Jordan Samuel,
I say that's Frankenstein. Always takes me a second when they announce the artists first. Even though I do my category breakdown series, I go over all of them. It still always takes me a second to make the connection of who that is. But that is Frankenstein. It was again, like I said, it's Frankenstein. It's got this, and then it's got production design as the third one coming up. But these were the two right here that were kind of the most locked for it, I would say, especially the makeup design. It is so incredible what they were able to do with Jacob Elordi's character, being able to transform him into the creature. Like, it is I remember reading, I can't remember exactly what it was, like the amount of time that he would spend in the makeup chair in order to get into the character for the role had to have just been like, not just, I mean, time consuming on his part, but also just, I mean, for all of the makeup artists to continue to get this look exactly how, and I mean, if you've seen a Guillermo del Toro film, you know that how particular he is about the design, how the creatures and everything look in his films. He's very kind of perfectionist in that sense of making sure that everything looks amazing. It looks amazing here in Frankenstein, and I'm glad it gets this Oscar. And it looks like we've got the new Oscar, Best Casting. I think this is going to go to Sinners, but let's see. One battle after another. Okay, there we go. There's the first kind of surprise. There was so much of this that was just kind of all chalk, and wow. So this is Sinners. This was its first kind of Oscar that it could have won. Losing this here to one battle, that is like almost a death nail already for that whole Sinners potential upset there at Best Picture. This is incredible. This is, I don't know what this tells us, because this casting Oscar is very interesting to where we look at it and we're trying to figure out what this means. Like, how are we going to predict this going forward? For me, part of me almost thought that maybe it was going to be like a Best Picture runner-up type of award, where you could just kind of award another Best Picture film. But with one battle after another pulling off casting, that is incredible. What that also shows me is the importance of like discovery, like finding a Chase Infinity, or it could also be, it could also show that this is the importance of getting four actors, like four nominated performances. Like, those are both going to be like very important things maybe to keep in mind going forward. That's kind of a shock. Sinners didn't have this category locked, but we all were predicting it essentially. So that is really cool. One battle after another. I was looking for this. Knew there was going to be some surprises. I did not see that coming. All right, and it looks like we have a short film category coming up next. I believe it's live action short film. Kumail Nanjiani is presenting, so let's see in a second here when they show the graphic. I'll know for sure what category we're doing here. It is live action short film. This is one where I think it's going to be two people exchanging saliva. A Friend of Dorothy would be really cool. Jane Austen's period drama was my favorite in the category, even though I don't think that has much of a shot at winning. I really think it's between A Friend of Dorothy and Two People Exchanging Saliva, but I'm sticking with Two People Exchanging Saliva.
The Oscar goes to... It's a tie. So
a tie?
We're going to get through this. Focus up. Calm down. Remain calm. I'm going to name one winner. They'll come up, accept their award, and then I'll come back and name another
It's
winner.
an actual tie.
They'll accept their award, okay? Here we go. One Oscar goes to The Singers.
The Singers! Okay, this is so cool. A tie. I guess this is maybe one of those categories where maybe you could see, because if it's a little bit fewer people probably voting in this category than some of the others, but I was not expecting that at all. This is really cool for The Singers. This is one of those that I really like. The Singers, like the concept of it. I don't know, I've heard that there's potentially a full-length film adaptation coming from it. I don't know how exactly that's going to work. I don't know if like the entire concept can be a whole thing, but what I do think is obviously you can build a film around this concept and then have pretty much this short film kind of be a scene of a longer film, and I think that it would be a really beautiful scene. So that's awesome. Congratulations to the Singers. This is really cool that there's a tie. Let's see who is the other winner.
Second Oscar goes to
Two People Exchanging Saliva. So everyone still gets. I wonder if we kind of had a little bit of a hint there. I bet they probably had those listed alphabetically, in alphabetical order. But I'm still as happy as I am for getting that prediction right. I guess everyone that predicted one of those two gets it right. I can't get over the fact that there was a tie. I did not think I've only been watching the Oscars religiously for about the past 7 years or so that I've seen all the films and watched the entire ceremony. Never in my dreams did I think I would see a tie. This is incredible. Congratulations both the Singers and Two People Exchanging Saliva. This is another very beautiful film. Luana Bajrami is incredible in the film. She's so charming, and I've only seen her now in I guess two things, but she's just an incredible actress. I'm going to watch The Happening is a film with her in it. I'm watching that soon, so really excited to kind of keep diving into her filmography because she's incredible in this. She's incredible in a lot of things I've seen. Congrats to two people exchanging saliva. And next up is Best Supporting Actor. I'm assuming this is going to go to Sean Penn. I don't think he's there because they had a Sean Penn joke earlier and they never showed him. So I don't think he's there, but at this point, the One Battle After Another, the winning casting, I have a hard time seeing it not winning an acting award now at this point, so fully expecting Sean Penn.
Sean Penn.
It is Sean Penn, and yep, you can see from the screen there that he is not there, but that is now the second win for One Battle After Another. Makes all the sense in the world that if you win casting, you probably are going to win an acting prize. I wonder if this means Leo is back on the table now, also having won, casting. Like, it's a lot of things going on, a lot of thoughts there. Probably good for the runtime there of the ceremony that Sean Penn wasn't there after having the tie kind of extended a little bit. But that's exciting. Congrats to Sean Penn on a third Oscar, even if you don't really care. Alright, looks like we've got the Screenplay Awards coming up next, and it looks like we're starting off with Adapted Screenplay. This is going to be One Battle After Another. I think it's a pretty easy conclusion there.
One battle after another.
One Battle After Another. Paul Thomas Anderson wins his first Oscar. Congratulations, Paul Thomas Anderson. It was super funny. Cassandra Koulikundis, the casting director, her taking a shot that they worked together for 30 years and she won an Oscar before him, and she never even had a category till this year. So that was super funny. But congratulations, Paul Thomas Anderson, finally winning that Oscar. I need to listen to this speech. And now we've got Best Original Screenplay. This is where Sinners is finally going to get on the board, finally get its first win. I would be stunned if anything else upsets it here. Sinners. And right back to back, Ryan Coogler gets his first Oscar right after Paul Thomas Anderson. These were two of the most locked categories, the screenplay categories. These are the two best films of the year, the two best best picture films. So it makes sense for these to go back to back and get those to get the screenplay Oscars back to back. I am interested now because, again, Sinners has kind of lost one that we were already kind of giving it. It's technically lost two since I was giving it Wumi Masaku as well. So I'm interested to see now how it kind of rebounds and if it's able to kind of get something else along the way, see if it can't still kind of gain that momentum and at least give us a moment where we think maybe it can pull off that upset in Best Picture. Next up is Best Production Design, and this I think is where we're going to get the third and probably final Frankenstein award. As to say, I believe, yep, that was Frankenstein. So, yep, there is the third Oscar there for Frankenstein. And again, it's got the three Oscars that I think, were like the most important in terms of like capturing the world that they created, this Gothic Victorian era style. It's like to be able to put this onto the screen of getting the sets and the decorations all look good, the costumes, the makeup, everything, all of that going into it, making it all period accurate, and then the makeup on top, with Jacob Elordi. All three of those facets, I think, were just working together beautifully. And so, yeah, these were kind of, I think, always the three pretty easy wins there for Frankenstein. So, congrats, and I guess now we'll see if it's able to pull off a fourth somewhere. I don't know if it's got any tech, I guess, other than score, which I don't think it's going to get it, but it's got a couple of other techs here and there, so we'll see if it can't scoop up an extra one or two. And then next up is Best Visual Effects. This is the most obvious Avatar award, especially with Sigourney Weaver up there to present, but let's see. Avatar, Fire and Ash. There was some discussion. I heard some people kind of bringing up in their Oscar prediction videos and stuff that they were talking about that they're hearing that there's maybe a little bit of a buzz finally kind of going around that people are kind of tired of voting for, Avatar every time it comes up. And so, but the thing is, I don't think, even if a couple people maybe are like that and kind of get off the Avatar bandwagon and not voting for it in visual effects, I think it is still such an amazing and, incredible visual effects work that you would need 50% of people to kind of decide that they're not going to vote for it anymore, and even then it's still probably, even with 50% of the vote, is probably winning the category. So it's one of those that it's just been such a dominant competitor in this category every single time it's nominated. It's going to continue winning these every single time it's nominated. Alright, next up is the documentary categories. Looks like they're doing documentary short first. I expect this to be All the Empty Rooms or maybe Armed Only with the Camera, but so far the shorts categories have been a little crazy, so who knows? Let's see who the winner is. Looks like it's All the Empty Rooms. So yeah, that was finally, I guess, in the shorts category, the first kind of predictable thing. Two people exchanging saliva felt maybe predictable. It was kind of the front runner, but obviously chaos ensued there in that category. So feels good to kind of get an easy one right. All the Empty Rooms is, if you haven't seen it, it's on Netflix, I believe, and it is very kind of emotional. I mean, oftentimes the documentary short films can be pretty emotional, and there's multiple emotional ones in the category. But that one's emotional in the sense that it is about the families and about kids specifically that were targets in school shootings, and a photographer doing something to immortalize them. And so it's a very touching, it's a very beautiful film, and you can feel it's done with such great care for the victims of these school shootings, and so glad to see them pull off this win. Now, documentary feature. I expect this to be either Mr. Nobody Against Putin or The Perfect Neighbor. I was leaning The Perfect Neighbor, but for some reason I'm kind of getting a feeling now where maybe Mr. Nobody Against Putin, maybe? But I did predict The Perfect Neighbor, so let's see. Mr. Nobody Against Putin. It did it. So I think that's a lesson I need to learn going into next year. Especially like any documentary that is about Ukraine and Russia, very, very high likelihood that it's going to pull off the win. I think there was some sentiment, some people talking about The Perfect Neighbor, that because it was this like Netflix documentary, which I think it wasn't a Netflix documentary. I think like Netflix purchased it and then distributed it or whatever, but it was made before Netflix got involved. But there was some sentiment about that and it being kind of this like found or like body cam footage type of film that, you know, maybe some people didn't really, I don't want to say didn't respect it, you know, as much as, you know, something like Mr. Nobody Against Putin. I think ultimately, I think it was probably a pretty close race, and I think kind of the social themes here in Mr. Nobody Against Putin being a theme that they have nominated and have awarded with multiple wins already, I think was probably a good indication, and going into the future, thinking about that, keeping that in mind, probably a pretty good indicator of what's going to win this category. Right, next up is Best Original Score, and finally I think we're about to see Sinners get on the board again. They only have the one Oscar so far, reason to believe that they're going to win multiple more, so finally this is where we're going to see that second Oscar come in. I can't imagine anything else upsetting it here in this category. Sinners. Ludwig Göransson is now 3 for 3 in the Best Score category, and he will see, I feel pretty comfortable saying he's about to be 0 and 3 in the Best Original Song category when I Lied to You loses to Golden. But for now, Ludwig Göransson 3 for 3 is just an incredible achievement, and if I'm not mistaken, he's doing The Odyssey, right, this year? So he's already going to be back again next year at the Oscars with probably another win. He has turned into really kind of the composer of our lifetime here in this score category. And next up is Sound. This is going to be the F1 Oscar, I believe. This is really the only category it has much of a shot winning. I'm kind of wondering now, maybe One Battle After Another could kind of be a little sneaky upset in this play, or Sinners, but One Battle After Another, having the showing that it was having earlier, makes me think it could potentially be in kind of upset prediction, but I'm still going with F1. F1. This is kind of crazy that it's been, for the most part, kind of predictable. There's a lot of these categories that felt predictable, and then it feels like it's every category that's like the 50-50 toss-ups have all been going the opposite way from what I think the majority of people are predicting. So, fun award so far. F1, again, it's nice to see it get a win, because it was such a strong tech player that it ended up kind of elevating it into the Best Picture conversation. Now, obviously, it wasn't ever going to win because a couple of the other categories that it was in had real strong contenders in it, like visual effects had Avatar, and then I'm drawing a blank on what the other, is it edit? It's not editing. I'm drawing a blank. They have 4 Oscars, and I can't remember what the 4th one is off the top of my head, but obviously it's not going to win picture, and then this was kind of the one spot that if you wanted to give F1 an award, you could give it the sound Oscar, and it really is deserved. It was phenomenal sound editing, or sound design, really, in the film. Just being able to kind of have like a sports race car movie, like that is a lot of the things that tick a lot of the boxes for the voters in this category, so it always made sense as the winner here. Now it is Best Editing, which was a nice little reminder. It was editing was the category I was trying to think of. The 4th F1 nomination wasn't editing. I don't know why in my head I convinced myself that that wasn't it, but it did get the editing here. This is going to go to One Battle After Another, especially after winning casting. Like, I can't imagine, once it stole that, I mean, it shouldn't say steal, because again, we had no idea what that category really was, casting, but once it won that award, it just solidified it to me where I just can't see any other award that One Battle After Another was up for or favored in, like, losing. I think it's going to solidify itself as the dominant frontrunner in all categories and just kind of continue winning awards here. I think this would be, its 4th award of the night, so I'm expecting this to go to One Battle After Another. And it is one battle after another. I had kind of notes on the side. I needed to double check, make sure I was right. Yeah, that is four, because now it has casting, supporting actor, and adapted screenplay. Um, Now you're adding on editing, and there's a couple more that are coming up. At least three more I can think of that it's going to win. I think One Battle After Another is going to walk away with 7 Oscars if it keeps up at this pace. The editing, the job they did here was phenomenal. The sentiment that I heard so much from, especially from like the next Best Picture podcast from Matt Negley himself, he was talking about how he was talking to other people, and the general consensus with the editing in One Battle After Another is that this is a 2 hour and 45-minute film that does not feel like that at all. And it seems like that is going to be the thing that we have to remember, that is like the number one thing people look for in editing, is just the films, especially if it's a long film, that feel short, and if it's a long film that they can get through because of how breezy and quick and fun the editing is, and that's what One Battle After Another did. Best cinematography, I expect this to be One Battle. Sinners! Sinners won cinematography. Autumn Durald Arcapa just won. Oh my goodness, I can't believe. So I just went on this whole lengthy spiel last section with One Battle After Another of like, I can't imagine any film's gonna take away one of its categories. This was a One Battle After Another category that Sinners pulled off. Okay, this is what I'm talking about in terms of getting some excitement. So that already now drops One Battle After Another to potentially only 6, and maybe if Sinners, if it can get a Michael B. Jordan, and if it can, there's not really much else that's remaining really for Sinners to kind of pull through. But this is a huge win, a huge upset. I did not expect that at all. The cinematography, there are definitely moments of Sinners where there's a lot of people I think that kind of complain about some things about how it's shot, and maybe it's a little too dark or whatever, but there are so many moments of this film, especially a lot of the stuff that's outside, that is just so beautiful to look at. Like, I love the cinematography in this film, and this is incredible for her getting this win. And now it's Best International Film. I predicted Sentimental Value, that was my prediction going in, but I was like 50-50 with that and The Secret Agent. Based on how today's gone, where every 50-50 category's gone the opposite of what I predicted, I'm fully expecting The Secret Agent at this point. Okay, so it still was Sentimental Value. That's... Sometimes there's some categories, I don't know why international feels like one of those categories that like it feels hard to like, maybe it's just because of the fact that it's like you're rooting for an entire country, like it's the country that wins the award. But sometimes it feels like a little bit like you're kind of pitting things against each other, more so in this category than others, somehow. And so I'm excited, I'm glad the Sentimental Value won. It was my favorite in the category, but I do want to say this is by far, again, in like the 7 years or so that I've been like really into the Oscars and watching every single nominee, this is by far my favorite 5-stack of films. Between this, The Secret Agent, Surat, It Was Just an Accident, The Voice of Hindred Job, these are all incredible. Plus you got Little Amelie, or the character of Rain, Arco, Mr. Nobody Against Putin, Kwoku, The Ugly Stepsister. Like, there are just so many. Two People Exchanging Saliva won an Oscar earlier. Like, so many beautiful international films this year. That's not even to mention No Other Choice, things that didn't get nominated. This year specifically was so incredible for international cinema. And my favorite among all of those was Sentimental Value, so I am glad it pulled off this win. We've got Best Original Song, and I expect K-Pop Demon Hunters. Golden from K-Pop Demon Hunters. Okay, that was pretty expected, especially just kind of seeing again the ovation and kind of the applause and the recognition it got when it won for animated. This always felt like it was going to be a thing. I Lied to You is a very beautiful song. I love that. That would have been my vote in the category. Train Dreams also would have been another one of my votes in this category. Like, it was very beautiful as well, but it's so hard to deny that either of those songs had any sort of cultural impact the way that Golden has. Like, this is just a massive song that almost, in a way, has transcended the movie, because, like, I'll tell you, because it took me forever to see K-Pop Demon Hunters. I heard the song before I ever saw the movie. Like, I had heard the song on the radio, or just like out in public when you're in the mall, or like whatever. Like, I had heard the song before I saw the movie, and the first couple times I heard it, I thought it was really catchy. Maybe it was just like on TikTok is maybe where I was seeing it the most, but I remember thinking this is a catchy little song, and then realized it was from the K-Pop Demon Hunters movie. So this is a well-deserving win, like a big win, big moment for this film, winning both of its Oscar nominations. So congrats to the K-Pop Demon Hunters team. Now is Best Directing, and I'm fully expecting PTA to get his second Oscar. One Battle After Another, Paul Thomas Anderson, 14 nominations, now 2 wins for him, and he's got one more chance. He could pull off 3 wins here. This is kind of very reminiscent of kind of what Sean Baker did last year. These directors that maybe they feel a little they've been underrepresented by the Academy. Maybe they have a couple nominations here and there. For Paul Thomas Anderson, he's got 14 nominations. Like, he's been, I guess Sean Baker hadn't actually ever been nominated, but some people felt like he maybe had deserved an Oscar at some point. To that point, PTA 14 nominations to this point. He has deserved Oscars by now, so it's glad to kind of see this being the year that it feels like it's this finally a celebration for him, giving him all of his Oscars. He's got one more coming. And now it's time for lead actor. The way tonight has gone with a couple of these categories, I am not 100% confident in Michael B. Jordan. The cinematography win was huge for it, to where I want to think that it's got it, but it lost casting. So is Leo back in the race? Is Wagner Moore in the race? Is Timothée Chalamet, is he going to still hold off and kind of come through with the win here? This is a very interesting category. I'm really excited to see who wins.
Michael B.
And it is Michael B. Jordan. Oh my goodness. What an unbelievable... I'm going to go quick on this because I need to hear his speech here. What an incredible turnaround for him to there were some people that didn't project him to get nominated. I projected him in 5th to get nominated. In my category breakdown series, I had him in 5th as I was doing all of the prep work in terms of most likely to win. Just the right moment, winning the right award at the right time, getting this positive momentum going his way. What an incredible win for Michael B. Jordan. It's truly crazy. I can't believe he kind of pulled this off, but he really is worthy. He does an excellent performance in Sinners. Very just beautiful performance, and I gotta listen to this speech. Now we've got Best Actress. Nice to finally have kind of an easy category here. Jessie Buckley, she has swept the only sweeper of any acting award the entire season. She is going to continue her sweep here at the Oscars.
Jessie Buckley.
Jessie Buckley. Very beautiful. Hamnet was my second favorite film of the year. It's still crazy to me every time I see people that just don't like the film, because to me it's so beautiful, it's so emotional. Jessie Buckley herself, between her and Jacoby Jupe, they are the heart of the film. They are the emotion. They are what really kind of brings you to love and appreciate this film. It's crazy to me to see people that kind of knock on her performance or just knock on the film in general, because to me it is such a beautiful film, highlighted specifically again just by her as the heart of the film. And here we are, the final award of the night, Best Picture. We came into this kind of expecting maybe potential kind of 50-50 here between One Battle After Another and Sinners. Sinners lost an award to One Battle After Another. One Battle After Another lost an award to Sinners. So it's they both kind of are about where we expected them to be, although they kind of swapped an award casting and cinematography, which is kind of crazy. I think for me, Sinners needed to have won a couple other things. It's getting loud, cheers, and people clearly love the film, and I think it will be an insane moment if it pulls this off right now. But for me, I think the lead that One Battle After Another has kind of built in this category is just insurmountable at this point. One Battle After Another. It was one of those... Sinners, I think it was a valiant kind of last effort, really trying to get back into this race and really trying to... again, make history, especially given the fact that One Battle After Another had won every precursor. This was such a dominant and such a big performance for the entire time, this entire journey, this entire award season. It has been incredible seeing One Battle After Another, seeing everything that it was able to pull off. Now Paul Thomas Anderson is a 3-time Oscar winner, getting the entire cast on the stage here. This is another one I've got to pause real quick and listen to the speech. But just an incredible win, an incredible night for One Battle After Another. And after this speech, I will be back with final thoughts. Alright, final thoughts from another fun and exciting award season. This ceremony specifically, I think had the potential, because there were so many just categories that felt locked, so many things that felt inevitable, and sure, there were a lot that I think stayed true to form, and maybe there wasn't as many surprises, but there were still some surprises, some highlights. We got to talk about... just right off rip, or very early in the show, we had a tie in live action short category. So you got the singers and 2 people exchanging saliva getting a win there. So you technically handed out 25 Oscars at this ceremony. Super, just kind of a fun thing there. But you had kind of for me, one of the big highlights, or one of the craziest things that I can't wait to listen to Next Best Picture or Oscar Expert and listen to people that we understand how this happened, how I think people were projecting about 6 Oscars for One Battle and 4 for Sinners. One Battle got 6, Sinners got 4. but they swapped an Oscar where casting we were all projecting it to go to Sinners, but that was one that we were like, oh, maybe we don't know. And then One Battle After Another was kind of winning all the cinematography precursors, and had just kind of swept the season, and it became this clear frontrunner. But then that goes to Autumn Gerald Arkapaw, who became the first woman to win for Best Cinematography, so incredible, congrats to her. Just kind of a crazy thing there, getting that switch, getting those two, so they still ended up with exactly what we expected, but swapping an Oscar along the way. Frankenstein won its 3 awards that we were projecting, its 3 techs. K-Pop Demon Hunters won its 2. And then, for the most part, I think a lot of other things kind of went, everything, again, like I was saying, there was a lot of the things that were set in stone, I think, because again, I don't want to say casting was set in stone, because we didn't know. Like, it's a new category, we all had a hunch, and we were all wrong. I think the only thing that was set in stone that didn't go the way that it was supposed to was cinematography. Every other category that was kind of a toss-up were the ones that we kind of had these gut feelings about, where it was like, it could be either of these two. I do want to go over, I don't ever, when I do my Oscar predictions, again, I picked Wumi Misako in supporting actress, and I said it a million times that I knew it was going to be Amy Madigan. But so when I make my predictions, I'm mostly kind of going for fun or for hunches and stuff. So I don't ever get too caught up in like what my number was. But I want to see here if I add this all up quick. So I missed supporting actress, I missed animated short, I missed casting, I missed, technically I guess I got live action short because I got one of the two. I missed documentary, I missed cinematography, and that was it. So I missed 5. So I got, what is that, 19 of 24. So that's not bad at all. I think there's a lot of people that are going to get into the 20s that probably did pretty good. I think, again, this is another year where the shorts categories probably messed up a couple people, but then the big one, like the casting and the, I'm going to keep bringing it up, the casting and cinematography switch, that's probably messed a ton of people up because that's just an insane thing that I don't think any of us saw coming. But again, a super fun Oscar night. Conan O'Brien is an excellent host. Had a lot of fun. A lot of the bits in between were also kind of fun. I had a lot of fun with the bridesmaids, their bit. It was a great, I think, award show overall. Again, excellent, fun night. I don't, is it next year or when they're going to YouTube? Again, if we're going to talk about the things that we talk about every Oscar ceremony, if there's things we need to clean up, it's not cutting people off. And part of it is, I think, they're very clearly, they indicate what categories they deem worthy of being cut off. When K-Pop Demon Hunters, when they were trying to accept for Golden, like, that is a pretty big moment. That was probably one of the bigger Oscars. Probably shouldn't have cut them off the way that they did with the song and just refused to let them speak when you know that there's other categories that you're not going to cut people off. So that's the one thing. Hopefully when it goes to YouTube in the next couple years, if it's not next year, whenever it is, when they're making that full switch to YouTube, hopefully they are able to kind of understand that a lot of us that are diehard film fans are willing to sit for a little bit longer to watch this award show if it goes a little bit longer, because we want to hear these speeches from all these worthy winners. So other than that, the one kind of small hiccup I would say, and that's the hiccup every single year when it comes to the Oscars, but other than that, it was just a fun ceremony. I had a whole lot of fun, and thank you so much for watching this reaction video. Thank you so much for watching my awards content this season, all of the category breakdowns. It's always nice when we get to this video because it means I can kind of exhale. I'm not, putting out as much content. I can kind of slow down and go back to about an upload a week or so. So it's always kind of nice when we get to this moment. But I do have so much fun creating all of this content for the Oscars. It's so fun kind of doing all this research and getting this all together, and it really kind of gets me an appreciation for not just like these specific films, which it does, but just film in general is something that I truly love, and it's something that I'm learning to love more in each day, especially when we get, the Oscars come around, and I can again do these deep dive on all these individual artists and learn more about the people, the behind the scenes that make film great. And this is, to me, I feel like there's years where, when they do these, announce some of the categories and they put them off, when they announce them off the broadcast or whatever, it's not televised and things like that, where there's been years where it seems like they don't care about the crafts and they don't care as much. This felt like a year where it felt like they cared about all the categories. So again, for the last time, had a lot of fun tonight. thank you so much for watching the video. Let me know down below in the comments your thoughts on these awards. How many did you get right in your predictions? What was the craziest moment for you? Just let me know all of that down below in the comments. And if you'd like to like this video and then subscribe to the channel so you don't miss any future episodes and Oscar content or awards content, I think I'm gonna maybe start up a couple awards kind of series that I will do on my channel. We'll see about that. But if you don't want to miss any of those videos or just any of the other series that I have going on my channel, I would greatly appreciate it. Thank you so much for watching. Have a great day.